Right on cue. This meeting is being recorded. So welcome back. If it's your seventh or eighth Back to Basics, welcome for the first time. If this is your first time, we're thrilled to have you here. This series is designed for our newer to networking or less technical sellers, or as I tell folks, anybody like me, because that would describe me in my opinion. So, welcome. We're glad you're here. Couple of housekeeping notes. First and foremost, everybody wants to know where this recording and the deck will be posted, and it absolutely will be posted in Sales Connect probably later today. So you can go back and watch the recording, share it with your friends, or whatever you'd like to do. Second disclaimer is this is not a technical deep dive. If you're looking for a technical deep dive, you'll be sorely disappointed, and I can't give you 30 minutes of your life back. So that's your cue to leave if that's what you're looking for. But what you will get is a great high level overview of spaces from two of our spaces experts. Luke Vaughn and Scott Colley are going to be presenting this presentation. So I think you're in for a real treat with them. Before I turn it over to Luke, just a couple of introductory features, as I always do, is, these sessions are designed to support the Catalyst full stack messaging that we have. And the whole thought process behind Catalyst Full Stack is the fact that we realize that our customers are looking to us to help them address their business needs and drive business outcomes. And so really there are four areas where we try to do that. And that's with helping them transform their infrastructure, secure their enterprise, reimagine their applications, and lastly, help them power hybrid work, which is a big one these days. So we realized that the best way we can do that is with what we call the Catalyst Full Stack, and it goes way beyond just the hardware pieces. When you look at the Catalyst Full Stack, next slide please, Luke, you'll see the green column represents the connect piece, and that's where we have our Cat9K switching, wireless, and Cat8K routing. And then the blue column, those are the software technologies that you can add on to integrate security with those features. So ICE, Umbrella, Secure Network Analytics. And then lastly, in the orange, we have those features and solutions that help integrate analytics and automation. And so today we are focused on one of those solutions, and that is Cisco Spaces. So it's a great way, an easy way to help your customers who've already invested in Cisco wireless, whether that's Meraki or Catalyst 9K, and help them get more value out of their existing infrastructure. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Luke, and I'm going to stop talking. Oh, you're on mute. Yep, you're on mute.
That was a really good intro too. You guys missed it. Sorry, I'll try to redo that one.
That was a great.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name's Luke Vaughn. I am a Cisco Spaces product sales specialist, and today I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about Spaces. Like Molly said, a really high-level overview, and she asked me to point out, which I think is important, that I actually came from outside of Cisco. So my background is not in Cisco or tech sales, but it really makes me passionate about this specific product. And the reason is that you can see the value across each vertical using Spaces. So today's agenda, we're going to talk about what Spaces is, who we sell Spaces to, what's the value, and ultimately, how do we sell it? And then my counterpart, Scott, is going to give a quick dashboard demo and walk you through a specific use case. So what is Cisco Spaces and what problems does it solve for? Well, when we talk about Cisco Spaces, we're talking about turning your buildings into smart spaces. Now, in my previous world, and when we talk about wireless infrastructure and getting folks onto the Wi-Fi, that's exactly what we're talking about. How do we get our employees or customers connected to Wi-Fi? We've come a long way since then. So now what we're doing is we're utilizing that Wi-Fi and that connection to start to drive specific business outcomes. So when we think about Spaces, we think about using our wireless and wired infrastructure to start to gather data and then essentially, right, and Scott's going to roll his eyes on me for this one, but turning on that Spaces pump and starting to drive specific outcomes across many different verticals, depending on what use case your customer is looking to solve for. Whether that be occupancy analytics, engaging with customers, equipment tracking, space utilization, and I'll jump into those a little bit further as we get down the slides. Now, when I talk about that wired and wireless infrastructure, specifically what I'm talking about is our Catalyst access points, Meraki APs, Catalyst switches, WebEx room devices, WebEx navigators, and then our wired and wireless third-party sensors in our IoT device marketplace. Now, this IoT device marketplace actually exists within our Spaces dashboard. So every one of those products of those IoT devices have been vetted and they work directly with Spaces. But as you can see, when we're talking about that infrastructure, this infrastructure is able to gather data, whether it be occupancy with those Catalyst APs, air quality, temperature, humidity, WebEx room devices, people count, ambient noise, our switches with occupancy and energy analytics, and so on and so forth. So we are taking the infrastructure that your customer has already paid for, that already exists in their space, and we are simply turning that pump on to start to utilize the data that that infrastructure is collecting to drive specific outcomes. Who do we sell to? Here's a loaded question. So Spaces is really the bridge from IT to line of business. So yes, most of our initial conversations start with IT, but very quickly IT realizes that this is a path to line of business, whether we're talking about facilities and real estate, the sustainability team, marketing, data and analytics, HR. To give you an example, yesterday I had a conversation with a facilities and real estate team with a customer. Today I'm going to have a conversation with a marketing team. So utilizing Spaces and the data that Spaces gathers, we're able to drive specific outcomes across every line of business within that specific customer. And we're using that Spaces dashboard to do that. What's the value of Spaces? Another loaded question for me here. So the value of Spaces is vast, and it really dives deep into what specifically your customer is looking to solve for. So when we talk about value, it really depends on, like I said, what are we looking to solve for here? When we talk about our smart workspaces within Spaces, we're talking about enhancing employee experience, especially what that looks like when our customers or our employees are returning back to work post-COVID. What does that experience look like? Employee safety with real-time occupancy, air quality, contact tracing, employee productivity, space utilization, so on and so forth. So when we're talking about real estate and smart workspaces, those are the outcomes we're looking to drive for using Spaces. When I go into retail and venues, I want to get customers onto Wi-Fi, right? So I can start to understand their behavior within my specific store or, concert venue, sports venue, whatever that might look like. I want to get them on the Wi-Fi so I can start to understand how they're actually behaving in my space. What we also can do is engage with them using Spaces. So using our SDK, we can actually implement that into the customer's application so that, when Luke, who loves Nike, spends 20 minutes in our store, I want to send Luke an engagement to drive him to go purchase something. So now I can use that data, that Wi-Fi onboarding, to start to engage specifically with my customers, whether it be in a retail or a venue, a concert venue, right? I want to send Luke to the beer aisle, not like he wasn't already going there, but however I want to use those engagements to start to drive behavior with our customers. Another great example is healthcare, hospitals. Asset tracking is huge, right? We spoke with a customer a couple of weeks ago that said that they spend $1 million a year on lost assets. So tracking assets is a big one. We utilize Spaces for that. Patient experience, employee safety, right? Staff to rest buttons, things like that. How do we make our space safer for our employees, for our staff? And utilizing Spaces, we can do all of those things. And obviously, so on and so forth. You can see the other examples here. How do we sell Spaces? Now, I'm not going to jump too far into the weeds on this one. I think it's important to note that our base level licensing is our Extend licensing, and most of your customers already have our Extend licensing through their DNA Advantage plan. Okay, so what our Extend licensing is, if you think about it in its most basic form, it is our base level, right? We're starting to ingest that data. We're not able to use that for specific outcomes as much, but that's basically our base level setup. Now, when we talk about our ACT licensing, that's when we can start to take that data to drive specific outcomes depending on what our customer is looking to solve for. Whether it be our rich maps, that employee experience I spoke about, our asset tracking, our IoT Explorer, and then specifically that engagement that I spoke about, using that SDK, implementing that into a specific application to start to drive engagement with customers. So when we speak about ACT licensing, there's really two ways to sell it. Well, three ways, but they can purchase ACT a la carte. So that is assuming they don't have Extend licensing at all. They can purchase ACT a la carte. ACT is purchased per endpoint, so one license per endpoint. They can purchase ACT on an upgrade. So if they have Extend licensing, they can purchase ACT through an upgrade, which essentially is the same idea, just at a little cheaper cost. And then lastly, in a limited form. And unlimited is really set for facilities and real estate teams, the teams that understand real estate. So they might not know how many endpoints they have in their specific buildings, but they understand how many square feet they have. So we can actually break it down, and the customer can purchase our ACT licensing through unlimited to be able to break it down by every 10,000 square feet. And it's important to note that over the last 3 years in America, in the United States, on average, Cisco customers spend 9 times more on Cisco hardware and software if they have ACT licensing. And I'd be happy to break that down for you further, show you where we got that information. But it's important to note for you as sellers that 9 times more spend on Cisco hardware and software if a customer actually has ACT licensing. All right, and before I jump into the demo, or Scott jumps into the demo, I should say, a couple things. First, if you're looking for more info, and we'll send this slide deck out, but if you're looking for more info, you can scan that QR code or simply use the link on the left-hand side there. And Scott or I would be happy to sit down with you for a half hour, an hour, and go a little bit deeper into Spaces and how Spaces works, how we use Spaces, depending on your specific customer. The other thing we'd be happy to do is just meet directly with your customer, because every use case is a little different when we talk about Spaces. So a customer might have an ask for us, and we can start to dive into that Spaces dashboard to see how we're going to use the infrastructure that they already have in place, the data that they're already collecting, to start to drive specific outcomes for the use case that they're looking to solve for. So before I turn it over to Scott here, Scott is going to jump into our smart workspaces. This is an incredibly popular talking point, I should say, with Spaces around our smart workspaces signage and what that looks like for enhancing employee experience when they return to the office. So we have so many customers right now that are coming to some sort of hybrid work model. They thought it would be easy. We get that all the time. We thought that this would be simple. We thought we'd understand how it was going to work. And we don't really understand how our real estate space is being used. We don't understand how our employees are utilizing it. And we want to create a better experience for them as they return to office. So what does that experience look like? How do we ensure employee safety? So, in this post-COVID world, right, the safest place for me has always been at home. When I leave my house, my little home office, and go back into the world, do I feel safe? And using environmental metrics through our different endpoints, we're able to start to gauge that and show our employees that this is a safe place for you to be. And again, Scott will go through that a little bit more. And then employee productivity, right, which is huge. As we go to this hybrid work schedule, what does that look like? How are we going to make our employees more productive when they jump back into the office? So with that being said, I'm going to pass the ball over to Scott. He's going to go through a quick demo for you guys.
Thanks, Luke. Already stealing my thunder a little bit, man, but I appreciate it. Can everybody see my screen?
We're good.
You're good? Okay, cool. Luke, thanks for setting me up and passing the ball over to me. As Luke said, going back into the office is a big thing for a lot of our customers, and they're wanting to push that employee experience. And how do we make it the best? How do we make an inviting environment, a safe environment for people to come back into the office, to want to be there, to stay there for long periods of time, and really be productive and get things done, right? So I'm going to show you a demonstration of our rich maps today, what it looks like from a location standpoint, and what the employee experience looks like, and what they're able to see, right? So the first one, I'm going go between two here, the Chicago office and then the New York, the Penn One office as well. But in the Chicago office, we're able to see here the occupancy for what it was historically of the day, what it is currently, and then what the weekly average is, right? So this allows people to make kind of a real-time decision or see, what the occupancy looks like. How many people are in the office? Is it buzzing? Is it going to be, a quick paced, very lively environment? Am I going to be able to go in and get things done? Because that's always a concern of people too. And then what does it look like? Does the air quality look good? Does the temperature look good? How about the humidity as well? And this just helps, get an overall picture of the building and what it looks like here, right? So we can get a whole lot more granular, and that's what we'll do here in just a second by jumping into the floor, right? So you're able to see a real-time view of the actual floor. Now this will be on, let's say, a touch screen or touch device, maybe in the lobby or even on the particular floor, and I'll show that feature to you in Penn One in a few minutes. But we're able to see here that this is the 7th floor of the Chicago office. We're able to see kind of, how many rooms are available on this floor. We use a red, amber, green scenario to kind of show you what's occupied, what's booked, and what's available. And obviously this is real time, so you see the numbers continuing to change. And then you're able to, if it's a touch screen, you're able to touch it, feel it, see it with your hands and move it around. I'm on a desktop view today, so, this is me moving it with my mouse. But, if there's a particular room or area that you're looking for, you're able to move it, look where you're going, what you can see, so on and so forth. On the floor as well, you'll see different rooms that are lit up, right? The red ones obviously are the ones that are occupied. The green ones are the ones that are available. And then any that are amber color, like over here in the corner, is booked. It's just not currently in use. So one other feature I like, and particularly on this floor here, is being able to see the amenities, right? So one of them here is the childcare area. So let's say you brought your kid to work with you. Obviously we're wanting to push that employee experience and get people back in the office. So this is how we do it, right? There's a childcare area. So where's it located? You come onto the floor, you're like, I want to know where this is. You can push the screen, and they are highlighted here in blue. There's 2 areas on this floor highlighted in blue where you can go and you can, drop your kids off or, let the kids play or what have you while you're working. Let's say you're looking for the help desk. Here it is. You just click it over here, or the cafeteria. There's the cafeteria in the back corner. Or, hey, I need to run to the quick restroom. Where's the closest one to me, right? Because sometimes we know restrooms are across the floor. It takes me X amount of time to get there and get back. Or let's say you go there and the restrooms are occupied. You need to find another one. There's a way to do it there too. So to kind of take you through a quick scenario, actually I'll jump over to the Penn One. So we'll jump over to Penn One and kind of look at it, right? And the other feature that I wanted to show is the Where Am I feature. So on this particular floor, which is the 9th floor in the Penn One building, there's a Where Am I feature. So you're able to click it and you're able to see, okay, this is where I am outside of this interactive board right here beside the help desk. And you're able to click here and see that this is the help desk located right behind me, right? So you're able to, just everything I've explained as far as booking rooms, you're able to do that from this particular board, or you're able to come over here and see if we can get it there, and then use this feature over here, right? So a little bit different than what we saw in the Chicago office. 71 rooms here, 41 available, 5 booked, and 24 occupied. You can see it as they kind of move across the floor, what's booked, what's not. From a room finder perspective, let's say you wanted to come in here, and I've already kind of set it up, but 30 minutes, let's change it to 60 minutes, let's change it to 4 people, and you want to have a collaboration device in the room as well. In doing so, it didn't pop down here. There it goes. So you're able to see which rooms are available, how many are in what the capacity is for each room, and then what floor it's on as well, if there's multiple floors that are integrated, and people are able to find it. Let's change it to, say, 30. Let's just do any. And so you're able to click on it and find it here, right? So when you click on it, this one's actually booked and occupied. So let's find one that's not here in the Chicago office. So you're able to go over here and click on a particular one, find out what you're looking for. And when you click onto the room itself, right, you're able to get a little bit more granular about the room too. So you'll see that for the rest of the day, it's pretty much wide open. There's 9 people that can be in this room. Currently, there's no one in there. The room quality itself is excellent. And this is where you're able to see the granular room data versus the floor data or the building data. So From a room temp perspective, 72 degrees, same as it is on the floor. Humidity is a little bit higher at 26, 23 on the floor. And then the ambient noise, which is a big deal as well. You want to make sure that you're quiet if you're meeting with, customers, guests, or if you're just on a WebEx device and making sure that you're having a clear conversation. You're able to see the ambient noise here is quiet as well. So let's say that the Chicago lawn is what we want to pick, right? So all we have to do is we click the whole room. It should it turned blue here. So then we're able to make our way from wherever we are, whether we're in the lobby, whether we're at a panel location within the floor, to make our way over to this room and to take the room there. So, as we enter the room, if it's on hold, as we enter the room, WebEx navigators will be able to say there's people in the room is now occupied, and then it will count a person per person, how many people are in the room. So you'll be able to see 4 to 5, 5 of 9, 6 of 9, whatever it may be, that are coming in and actually having the meeting within that place. So I know that was a very quick overview, but I want to mention just quickly too, Luke was talking a lot about the IoT marketplace and what it looks like. So from a Spaces perspective, you're able to see the different sensors and just devices that connect with Spaces and interact. You're able to click into the marketplace itself, and you don't have to have a Spaces login in order to do this. You can actually click or get in through LinkedIn if you have a LinkedIn login there. So you can actually come in and you can filter by use case. Let's say visitor tracking. We'll leave it at workspaces, and we click apply, and actually can change and show you the different beacons and tags and different things that are available for you to be able to, or the customer to be able to purchase and bring into their environment and bring into their space in order to make it more captivative of data and bring more information in. So like Luke said, this is a very high level overview, but we are happy to sit down and have further conversation with anyone about a particular customer or use case, or just dive into it a little bit deeper as well. Feel free to contact him or myself, and we're happy to do it. So Luke, Molly, I'll kick it back over to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Scott. It looks really impressive. I love the rich maps and wish I had it when I was in the office at RTP. So
Absolutely.
So with that, it's time to open it up for Q&A. If you would like to ask your question live, we have people obviously standing by who are more than willing to do that. All you have to do, everybody's muted, so if you'll just raise your hand using the hand icon at the bottom of the screen, I can unmute you and give you the chance to ask your question. While we're waiting on questions, I would be remiss not to throw out there that the next Back to Basics session is 2 weeks from today on March the 23rd, and it will be focused on DNA Center. So absolutely come back in 2 weeks. We'd love to have you. It looks like we have a question from Jody. Jody, hold on and I'll unmute you. Takes a second, stand by. Well, it's not wanting to unmute you. There we go. Jody, you should be able to ask your question now. Jody?
Hi, can you hear me now? Hello.
Yes, you're alive. Go right ahead. We hear you.
Okay, yeah, thanks for a great presentation. I have a quick question. In the commercial space, I'm in commercial select. Adoption is a lot of times a challenge, and so if you bring spaces in and it's really geared towards the the hybrid worker, how have you been doing with getting workers to actually learn how to access the program and utilize all these tools, as opposed to just coming in and not even knowing that it's there?
Sure. Yep. I'll take a first pass at it, and Luke, please, put in anything else that I missed. But obviously, we do have an adoption team that helps get everything up and running and get it where it needs to go. If we're able to explain it internally to our customer, they're able to help roll it out and get it to their employees as well. It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy to do. You're able to access it from a URL link like we saw, but then you're able to see it within the space too, from like a touchscreen device that might be like a TV or something that might be on the wall for them to be able to use it as well. So it seems to be working pretty well from what
Well,
we've seen.
Scott,
Customers are loving it.
we lost you there for a second, Scott. We have another question. Hold on just a minute, Susie, and I'll unmute you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, hear you now. It was weird.
Okay.
It went out and came back. Okay, Susie, you're live. Susie Wallingford,
Hi, can you hear me?
we hear you.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to make sure. I've been known to talk into mute.
No, say it ain't so, Susie.
I know
on
you
to it.
think, yeah. So first I wanted to say thanks for the answers to the questions that I put into the Q&A. As you probably gathered, I'm quite interested in this. I'm partially in federal, so we don't have spaces PSSs assigned at the moment, but the Smithsonian, which I imagine everybody's heard of if you're local to the US, is interested in spaces after seeing it at the GSA Workplace Innovation Lab, which was really cool. I was curious if y'all know off the top of your head of any other museums that are using something like spaces for their guests, because or patrons. I understand the smart workspaces thing, but I'm kind of curious if we have any cool ideas about what could be possible in a museum environment.
Yeah, that's a great question, Susie. Thank you. So I don't specifically, but I know, and I'm sure our team does. I'd be happy to pass that along to the team and get some references for you. And then maybe I'll ping you on the side and we can set up a time just to chat about it if you'd like. Jake Levisolo is on this call as well, Molly. I don't know if you want to take him off mute, but he might have a specific reference for that.
Yeah, I can help. So with that, I would say anything just from getting devices connected to Wi-Fi seamlessly is one. As soon as they're connected to Wi-Fi, now we can start to engage with them and push different messaging to them, potentially based off of like which part of a particular exhibit they're in. I think the analytics that could come from it. So seeing which portion of the venue patrons are spending more time in than another. If we look at also integrating with third parties, we could look at wayfinding and navigation. So whether it's through a web application or through a native application, being able to get from point A to point B and showing me the route to take. So I think there's a huge value, and we do have a couple other museums that we can draw from the team on that has worked on those and talk through what has been successful there.
Maybe we connect Jody to Carey, right? Because I see a message previously from him saying one of his customers wants to be a spokesperson and reach out to other museums because the solutions work for them.
Perfect.
Oh, that would be amazing. Thank you so much. What was that name again, Millie?
We'll put you in touch with Carey Ranowski.
Oh, I know
We'll ping you
Carrie.
everything.
Yeah, I can
Okay,
ping Carrie.
cool.
Yeah. He used to, when we did have federal coverage, I got to work with him. So he's great. But thank you so much, Jake, Scott, Luke. Really appreciate this.
Absolutely.
Any other questions? We got a minute left. We'll make use of every minute of time we get. So if you have any other questions, raise your hand. I'll be glad to take you off mute. One thing Jake threw out earlier in the call we did earlier today for EMEA that I thought was worth repeating, not that there wasn't a lot worth repeating, but that one of the benefits of spaces is that when people deploy spaces, they tend to spend, 9 times more on their wireless and switch hardware. So it's absolutely a great Trojan horse, for those customers who already have some wireless, get them to use it and see how you can drive their spend upwards. I'm going to take the silence as no more questions. I don't see anybody else raising their hand. So with that, we'll call it a day. Oh, we do have a question, Bob, in the nick of time. Hold on. Okay, Bob, go ahead.
As well, but Tririga integration, I understood that kind of the integration piece had gone away or something had changed there. But what kind of capabilities are out of the box available to Tririga users?
So nothing has gone away as far as that integration goes. It's still a built and fully supported and backed integration. I believe there is actually an improvement coming to it, and I might be butchering this a little bit, but I believe it's in terms of where we will be taking data from ICE through PX Grid, so that we would know that Luke and Scott are in sales, and we can pass that data over to Tririga directly. And I might be blurring that a little bit, but actually providing more insight to Tririga to make that integration more valuable. So it's fully out of the box, and just like when Scott showed that IoT device marketplace, there's kind of an accompanying app center as well, where now with just a few clicks of the button, you can start sending data to Tririga or any of the other third parties that we integrate with. So I'd say to get kind of a deep dive as far as like the Tririga use cases and benefits and how that integration works, set up time with the team and we can talk through it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Well, we're officially 1 minute past the top of the hour, so we're going to shut it down, and appreciate all of you for joining today. I know everybody's busy, and we appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to learn a little bit more about spaces. So join us in 2 weeks when we'll be talking DNA Center, and until then, I'll see you 2 weeks. Speakers, I'm going to hold y'all for a minute.